Hey Stashers! Welcome to episode 110 of the CraftStash podcast. I'm your host, Kim. Today's episode, Spring Spindle Tour Part 2, and a whole lot of other crap. Let's get started. Hello everyone, welcome back. Hello YouTubers. Didn't think I'd be saying that for a little while. Thanks to returning viewers of the show. Hopefully by now you've noticed I am fully hosted for free on YouTube. I'm not uploading videos to Blip anymore, and I've not been able to get my videos syndicated to iTunes. I'm sure it's really easy, but I just have tried 6 or 7 times and iTunes refuses to accept my feeds, and it is what it is. Maybe it's the universe telling me that I gotta be a YouTuber now. So hey YouTube! I noticed that that's how most YouTubers start their videos. I have been recording the past 4 episodes on YouTube via my iPad and uploading directly from iMovie, which is great. It's really easy, but it limits me to 15-minute episodes, which is a good thing because I'm trying to keep things more shorter. But I just downloaded a bunch of games to my iPad and I don't have enough space and you don't really care, but suffice it to say, this will be a longer episode, okay? So hang in there and we've got lots of fun stuff happening. I guess we'll go ahead and start off with the Spindle tour because that's what we did in episode 109, so let's look at some of my spindles. So last week I told you guys, sip some of my tea. Last week I told you guys that I'm partial to supported spindles because I feel like they give me more control and also get me less tired because I'm not kind of vertically stretching my arm up all the time. I'm more horizontally stretching my arms out to draft. So I think that's one of the main reasons that they appeal to me. This is my tea infuser in case you're wondering what the heck this thing is. But I also realized that I think supported spindles, drop spindles are beautiful. The designers and craft makers have a lot of creative license with what the whorls look like, but there's really only two or three types. There's top whorl and bottom whorl, and then there's whether or not the crafts person wants to have center weighted or rim weighted or both. So there's not that much, I feel like, there's tons of creativity, but the history of drop spindles is not as rich to me as supported spindles because I'm just looking at my stash of spindles. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that I want to show you, and they're all different types. I do not have two of the same type of drop spindle, supported spindle. And you know, when I start talking to you about the different types, it's not necessarily, oh, this is the middle, this is the center. It's really about this is Mongolian, this is Hungarian, this is French, this is Turkish, this is Tibetan. And my assumption is that these spindles originated from those regions. I'm not sure if it's kind of like the whole Navajo plying equals chain plying controversy, because apparently Navajo Indians in America have said that they don't chain ply the way we think Navajo is, so it's none of that. Hopefully when it says it's a Mongolian style spindle, it's actually, you know, back in the day, that's what spindles in Mongolia looked like. So that's kind of why I like supported spindles. And you get to kind of focus just on the shape and the wood a little bit more than the designs, right? Because I feel like on a drop spindle, there's a lot of room for creativity and design on the whorl because it doesn't necessarily do much except for be a stopper. But on a drop supported spindle, you're using the shaft to carry, obviously, the cop, but you're also using it to kind of make sure that your spin is even. So if there's too much decoration, it actually probably will slow down the speed of the spindle. So it kind of forces the designers to be a little bit more simplistic in my experience. There are some definitely crazy supported spindles out there. Some of them that I've had my eye on include supported spindles from Mirkwood Arts and Viking Santa, just because they're beautiful, but they're also huge. So let's go ahead and get started without further ado. I'm just gonna go pick up a spindle and talk about it. So my first pick up a spindle and talk about it is this cute little, it's probably my tiniest supported spindle. This is a French style supported spindle from Miss Lucy P. She's an Etsy vendor. She hasn't been updating a lot recently. Let me see if I can spin these guys for you. She hasn't been updating a lot recently, but when she does, they're absolutely lovely. What she does is she uses natural stones. So there's turquoise in here, crushed turquoise, which is the green that you see, and then that little tip is actually a crystal. I think it is plastic, but it could be glass. I don't really remember. And she does absolutely lovely work. This is a tiny spindle. It's about 8.5 inches tall, 1.2 ounces. I only remember that because I just looked it up on my Ravelry page. If you're ever curious about any of the support spindles I'm about to show you, they're all on my stash page. If you search for spindle in my stash, they'll all pop up. But I absolutely love the spindle because it's tiny and it's got the crushed turquoise in it, and that crystal bead is very, very beautiful, and it spins very, very nicely. In terms of samples that I've spun, you know, with my drop spindles, my samples vary because depending on the weight and the hook style, you know, drop spindling is not my kind of natural spinning method, so my spun yarn on my drop spindles varies widely. But because I'm pretty comfortable with supported spindles and I spin the same way, my yarn turns out pretty much the same regardless of which supported spindle I use. So I don't know if you guys can see this. It gives me a very nice, fine single, which I'm really, really happy with. This sample fiber is by Nuno Co. Whenever they ship out their fiber that you buy from them, they include color samples. So this was just me spinning up some of the color samples that they got. I don't know if you guys can see that rainbow work in there, but very pretty, very nice. So that's my Miss Lucy P French spindle. Next up, I'll show you guys my workhorse slash one of my favorites. It's hard for me to pick a favorite. I had recorded this a little bit earlier and I called this one my favorite, but it's, now that I'm looking at all of them wearing their pretty fiber, it's hard to pick a favorite. But this is my workhorse, pick it up, love it, go to it, supported spindle. This is a, you guys are yelling at me right now, Tibetan style spindle. Tibetans are known for their kind of bell shape, and they've got kind of a cup, so your fiber can actually squeeze into the cup, if you can tell, because my finger is kind of digging in there. So they hold a lot because you've got that extra space within the cup, and then you can just build the cup on top of it. This I got from one of the SSKs. This was probably the supported spindle that I bought and said, oh my gosh, supported spindle is amazing, yay. Lori of Deerfield Creations herself kind of did a supported spindling workshop at SSK 2011 or 2012, and that's where I kind of learned to kind of be open to supported spindling. So thank you, Lori, for starting me on this wonderful journey that now has me with a lot of drop spindles. Spins very, very nicely. It's wearing some Gourmet Stash Punis right now, as are most of my spindles, because Kate's fiber is awesome. It's very, very nice. Who's next? Ooh, this is a pretty girl. So technically the first supported spindle that I ever got, I'll show you that one first, was this beauty. Do you guys recognize these? See that fire on the bottom? This is a Twindle, which is a lovely, lovely, fun, kind of hybrid supported spindle from the folks at Bristlecone. Mispa and her husband are artsy hippies, amazing. If you are part of their Ravelry group, you know what I mean. I just don't understand how their brains work. They're just like so cool. Their Ravelry group is a ton of fun. You should definitely join it, and not just to stalk their updates because they're impossible to make the updates, but just to kind of join in the fun. The Twindles by Bristlecone are kind of unorthodox spindles. They have a Swarovski crystal bead at the bottom as the focal point, I guess, and they spin on that focal point. I don't know if you guys can see. And they do, I don't know if they do this anymore, but back in the day, if you had bought one of these, you could request some custom pyrography. So I had requested a dandelion seed because I have a little dandelion seed tattoo. So this is Kitsch. This is one of the only spindles that I've named. It just spins very beautifully. And Kitsch is wearing some fiber from Spun Right Round. yeah, and I've been spinning this fiber for over 3 years. Just because, I don't know, why am I spindling this fiber for over 3 years? I don't know, it just is. So this is my first, I think this is one of the first drop spindles that I bought in general. And twindles are very, very lightweight, so they're not the greatest for very beginning spindlers, in my humble opinion, because you want something that's going to kind of grab the fiber from you, and these are very, very light, and they spin very, very fine. So if you're first learning, it's a little bit tricky on a spindle that doesn't have that much weight on it. But other than that, it's absolutely gorgeous. Plus, I mean, good God, who doesn't like a little bit of just bling on their spindles, right? Very pretty. The spindle that I was about to pick up. I mean, I love my twindle. That's my girl. But this spindle is also has a name. This is Zephyr. Yes, I am a crazy craft lady. I name my tools. But that's okay because people name their cars. I even had a girlfriend who named her purses. So, whatever. This is also from Bristlecone. You can tell their spindles most of the time because they have custom Pyrex on them. So, I don't know if you guys can see, but Zephyr has this amazing crystal clear Pyrex glass on the bottom that has iridescent sparkle in kind of a, I don't know how you would describe it, like a whirlwind or whirlpool or even like a universal spiral kind of lovely, lovely. It's just when you, and it has iridescent sparkle, so when you look at it in the light you see a rainbow, but it's really hard to show you guys on my not so great camera. But it's absolutely lovely. I believe this is walnut. I did not ask for any pyrography on this one because actually someone on Ravelry scored this for me at Taos. This was when I was kind of obsessed with supported spindles and I was stalking them, and I knew that I would never be able to fly to New Mexico for a fiber festival, so I asked someone to buy any bristlecone for me, whatever. I told them that I didn't like yellow. And this is what she came back with, and it was absolutely lovely. And I went ahead and bought some stuff for her at Rhinebeck, and it was a very great exchange. But yeah, it's a lovely spindle. It spins pretty nicely, and it's not working very nicely right now because I guess depending on the tip of the support spindle, you really have to think about what you spin it on. So any of my spindles that have glass on the bottom or have kind of a non-traditional point, I try and spin on a glass surface because there's less friction there. I'll show you in a second my favorite spindle bowl, but it's made of wood, and wood on the glass, for some reason the drag is just greater and it just doesn't go as fast, so yay. This is also some very pretty fiber from Spun Right Round. This is actually all the same braid. I'll show you. That I separated by color and rolled into Punis myself. Kate would say that they're Rolags, or Puni style Rolags, because they're kind of chubby. But yeah, so that's the fiber that this is wearing. And then the triplet of these two, because they're all wearing the same braid, is another Deerfield Creations spindle. So these two spindles, I don't think they really have a type. I think they're kind of Russian-esque. I'll show you in a second, because the Russian spindle in my mind is the most typical supported spindle that you'll think of. It looks like a Harry Potter wand. I don't know if that's more Russian or French, but you know, they're kind of just a stick. So this is a true Russian spindle, and you'll recognize the shape as, you know, it does look like a Harry Potter wand if I push the fiber up a little bit. It's got this bulbous end that comes to a point, and that's your focal point. And then it's just kind of the wood goes into a taper. So it's very, very witch's wand-ish. And this is some awesome red Paduak wood. And I got this from SSK as well. I think it's the same SSK that I bought the Tibetan from. It spins very, very nicely. And like I said, this is fiber from Spun Right Round that I kind of made my own little faux lag Rolags into. And again, I've been spinning this for like 2 or 3 years. But that's all good, because spinning for me is meditative. Wow, we're already our halfway point on the spindle tour. I'm glad this is not going as long as I thought it would. The next spindle that I have to show you is my weirdest spindle, and it's actually not weird at all. It's just so not like all of my other spindles because it's huge. This also looks like a very traditional spindle. When you think of a supported spindle being like very wand-like. This is, I believe, a Hungarian style spindle. This is from, I want to say it's from Spanish Peacock, but let me just double check. This is from Spanish Peacock, and it's a Hungarian. Again, I couldn't tell you why it's Hungarian. Maybe it's because this bulbous point comes to a taper and then has a little notch on top. So if I were to spin a big cup on this, this would be my natural stopping point, which is kind of nice, because the thing that I run into on all of my supported spindles is I end up winding a temporary cup on the top. Here's a good example. So this is the main body of where my wound yarn lives, but as I'm spinning, I kind of do a temporary placeholder cup towards the top, and as this gets bigger, it gets closer and closer to my spinning tip. Well, hello, person who's texting me. So it gets a little bit difficult to kind of maneuver that after a while. But the Hungarian has a built-in stopping point, so you never really have that problem, which is great. But I haven't spun much with it. This is the one little fiber sample that I had, and I'm almost not really wanting to show this because this was just when I was still learning to spin decently. Come on, focus. And this is a really bad roll log that I made of 3 different kinds of fibers that don't blend well at all. It was like bamboo and silk and Rambouillet, and they just don't play well together, and I carded them badly, so it was not really the best sample for me to spin with, but it did a pretty good job considering that I was still a newish spindler and that I was really trying to make this was like really artsy for me. But it works really, really nicely, but it's really big. And for me, that's, you know, I'm afraid of, oh boy, I was about to say some stuff. I won't say it, but maybe if you've got your mind in the gutter like I always do, you know what I was gonna say. Okay, so that's my Hungarian. Who's up next? The other Spanish Peacock that I have, and I am going to Maryland Sheep and Wool this year. Yay, I hope that you're gonna be there and I hope I get to see you. I am going to probably get another Spanish Peacock spindle. I want to get a full-sized Tibetan from Mike because he does a really great job. And they're beautiful. So this is my Fang spindle. I very rarely am on the hunt for a specific kind of spindle, but I was on the hunt for a Fang because I absolutely just love the shape. It's very like womanly Venus goddess shaped. You know, it's bottom heavy, which is really nice. And other than that, it's really, really simple. It's wearing fiber right now, but if I were to take it off, it really is just this lovely teardrop shape that's elongated at the bottom for a point, and it spins very beautifully, and it's nice and compact. I don't remember what kind of wood this is. It also looks like a walnut, but I'm not really sure. And it spins really nicely, and it's wearing some Gourmet Stash Punis as well. Okay, so I've got 2 more spindles to show you. These are both really, really fun. This spindle type I did not know existed. This is a Mongolian. And this is from Turnstiles. I was at Maryland Sheep and Wool last year, walking around. I had bought my 2 Spanish Peacocks, and I saw a bunch of other spindle makers, and I kind of was like, meh, not really interested. Most of them are selling drop spindles. So I just kept walking by, and then I saw this lovely, this is like some sort of mahogany cherry, beautiful wood. And the shape was really, really interesting because it's kind of a hybrid of a Russian and Tibetan, because it's got that bell cup shape of the Tibetan, but then it still has the kind of the tapered point like the Russian. And it's kind of heavy at the bottom, which I really like, and it spins really, really nicely. I've been spinning my latest CSA Gourmet Stash Puni Club Punis with it, and it's really, really great. It spins fast because it's nice and heavy, but it also still feels relatively light when you're spinning it. And I love it. Not a big name brand, but that's alright. Very good craftsmanship. And then last but not least, my high-tech spindle is my support spindle Trindle. Last week I showed you 2 of my drop spindle trindles, and this is deadly. This is carbon fiber. It's really, really sharp. This spindle has stabbed me a couple of times actually when reaching into a bag to grab it. It's super, super sharp. I don't know if you guys can see. It's like almost sharper. It is sharper than a knitting needle. But it spins very, very fast, and I spun all of this really lovely Gourmet Stash Puni on it. This was the custom colorway that Kate did for me when we first started being chatty. She did a beautiful job with these. And the thing I like about this spindle is it's super, super fast, and it because it's a trindle, I have lots of different weights that I can use it with. I think these are the only two. This is my little mini bowl of trindle arms that can kind of be interchanged to a certain extent among all of them. But these are the only two that are specifically for the supported spindle because the arms are super short. So these are really, really heavy. And these are mid-weight. Let me pop them in. I would not mix and match them normally. But in general, the trindle arms, oh, look at how fast that is. Isn't that awesome? So fast. Whoop, almost too fast for me. Generally, the arms of the support spindle trindles are shorter because if they were longer, they'd want to fall off a little bit more. Center of gravity, centripetal versus centrifugal force. I can never remember which is which. And the thing is, because of this carbon fiber, there's no way I would ever use my wooden spindle bowls to spin this because it would definitely wear a groove in them because this is like carbon fiber hard. So that's a great transition point for me to show you my spindle bowls. Going from newest to oldest. I love this one. Because of the light, you won't be able to see this very well. But this is a custom glass, not custom, I didn't customize this, but this is like totally handmade. It's Pyrex glass, or borosilicate glass, I guess is the non-trademarked term for it. And if you were to look up really closely, this is kind of really, it's like reflective foil stamping in colors of blues and purples and lilacs and rose pinks. And it's borosilicate glass, so it's pretty hard. That means that I can put my support spindle trindle on it and it'll go forever. It'll dance, dance, dance. So nice. I got this on Etsy from Chambles or Chambless, Chambles, art glass. That was about 15 bucks. Very, very worth it because if I drop this, it won't shatter. I wouldn't drop it though. And it works very nicely for any of my spindles that are just kind of either the glass tipped or the carbon fiber tipped. What I do with this is, because I support spindle in my lap, I love a spindle bowl that's high up. So I said I was going to go from newest to less new. This is my next not new, my second newest spindle bowl. It's also, this is ceramic. I don't know what kind of ceramic it is. It's just like thrown wheel pottery. Sorry, it's so dark. I got this at Maryland Sheep & Wool from a very small vendor. I forget the woman's name, but she has mugs and cups and things. And it's just like a little ring coin dish, very tiny. And again, it works really nicely for anything where I really don't want to worry about the spindle dragging a hole into, or anything that is, you know, glass tipped that I want a very smooth spin on. So it works very nicely. So this is the bowl that I use most often. It's my favorite. This was custom made for me by Lori of Deerfield Creations after I had seen her post a couple that she had special ordered for some other people. This is, I think it's Padok as well. It's probably my favorite wood after Purple Heartwood. And it's kind of like a little chalice. You can sip some very strong liquor out of it. It's not very deep. It's fairly shallow. But it's perfect because when I want to spin the spindles that require a glass or ceramic bowl, I can just kind of perch both of them up in there. So it works really, really nicely. This way I still have that high profile when it's sitting in my lap and not have to worry about it. And I'll show you how it spins with a regular spindle now. So because this is wood, I feel like the wood on wood works really, really nicely. And I don't necessarily have to worry about them wearing a permanent groove. I think eventually they will start to kind of wear a hole in there, but you can kind of softly sand them down. So that's nice. And second to last is a spindle bowl that I very rarely use. It's great. It's also by Lori of Deerfield Creations, but knowing that I really spindle in my lap, this is a little bit too low profile for me, and it also, like, it just is kind of weird if I sit it inside. So it's a great spindle bowl. If I ever travel, this is the spindle bowl that I take with me if I need a wooden bowl. And then my very first spindle bowl was made by my husband back in college before we knew each other, because it was one of his ceramics class projects. It's like a chalice, you know? This is like Indiana Jones and the Goblet of whatever. Oh god, I just mishmashed 2 movies. The Holy Grail. or the Goblet of Fire. Maybe I'll watch Harry Potter tonight. Yes, but I, you know, use this for spinning because it works really, really nicely on all of my spindles. And I wanted to show you guys this because the spindle bowls should not be your most expensive endeavor here. You really just want a cup or a flat surface to spin into. So even a wine glass that you have that's sturdy enough that has, it's like not super deep and fairly shallow on the bottom, you know, not too much of a steep curve, would work really, really well. So that's why I use this. So much so that I dropped it and it broke and I taped it back together. Yeah, so. And I think the last thing I will show you guys on my spindle tour, sorry for the bad lighting, is this weird looking thing. This is, I had asked, because I absolutely love Lori of Deerfield Creations, I absolutely love her woodwork. I had seen her have these spindle stands at her booth to sell, and I was wondering if she would ever make one just to kind of sell to people. So she ended up making this, and she used it at SSK. I think she made it for me, but then she used it at SSK, and then after SSK I picked it up from her. So it was money very well spent, because it's got purple heartwood, which I love, walnut, and then I guess this is canary wood. I'm not really sure. Is this maple? Whatever color this is. And it, you know, my spindles have stuff in them, so they won't sit in there very nicely, but it's a nice display for my spindles when they're naked, but none of them are naked, so it's kind of hard to show you. But it holds up to 8 spindles, so it's a nice way. It didn't break, but still. It's a nice way to display my spindles. So if you're ever in the market for spindle holders, there's tons of them on Etsy if you just Google support spindle holder. Some of them are pricey, some of them are cheap. So yeah, those are my support spindles. So what else have I got for you? Now we're on to our regularly scheduled programming. So I will show you a little bit of what I'm crafting and a little bit of what I'm stashing. Are you tired of me talking about my sister's chuppah without seeing pictures? Okay, here's the chuppah. I don't know how big it is, but it's getting big. It's the size of, when it's on the temporary holding wires, it's the size of my pillow in width. So that's probably, what, 2.5 feet square? It's going really nicely. I had told you guys a couple weeks ago that I was messing around with the lace pattern to make it something easier to remember, and now that I'm halfway in the middle of it, I kind of hate it, so I think I'm going to go back to the established pattern. But it's coming along nicely. The beads are going really well. That beading tool that I showed you, the Flegel beater, is helping out immensely. I've switched to bigger needles to make it go faster, and now I'm worried because I have 600 stitches on this thing every round, and I'm nowhere near the size that I need to be. Yes, I have until August, but oh my gosh, it's gonna take me forever. Like, it fits, it's like, almost covers my head, and I wanna hide under it. But it's a labor of love. My sister's gonna be really happy with it. It's gonna be a family heirloom, so I gotta just keep on keeping on. I had 7 balls of yarn, and I'm 1.5 balls in. This is half of the second ball, so we shall see. It's moving along. I wanted to prove to you and to myself that I'm actually still working on this thing. Wish me luck. All right, so the other couple things that I'm working on are due to some alongs that we've got. I just started swatching for the Q2 along in the CraftStash group. It's the I Knit NYC knit along, and it's co-hosted with Kristen of Yarngasm podcast and and Maria of the Subway Knits audiocast. All Q2 long, that's April 1st through June 30th. We're asking our viewers to play along with us and knit patterns that they think are inspired by NYC. So things like the Triboro hat and cowl, which is our featured pattern. Things like Jessie Doddington's In a New York Minute. Any pattern by Jared Flood or Brooklyn Tweed. Wait, Brooklyn Tweed is Jared Flood, right? Yeah. Anything by Lauren Nelkin, because she's a New York designer. There are tons of New York designers. Those are the few that I can think of off the top of my head. And also you can basically knit anything using yarn from an indie dyer based in New York. So Jill Draper, Swoon Fiber, Art Yarns, gosh, there's so many of it I know I'm not even thinking of right now. 716 Knits, yeah, all that fun stuff. Basically to celebrate New York State, not New York City, but New York State in general and the art of craftiness. So, oh, and you can also spin fiber from a New York indie dyer as well. So that would include Loop, that would include Into the World. So yeah, fun stuff, right? We've got amazing prizes. Oh, I've got one of the prizes here. But before I get there, because I'm getting ahead of myself, I wanted to show you what I'm knitting for the cow. I went back and forth on this. We do have a featured pattern. Amy T, who is a New York City based designer, she actually works at a couple of the yarn shops in the city, designed a beautiful, beautiful pattern called the Triboro Tam and Cowl, and she actually has a coupon code for us. If you go to Ravelry and enter, I believe it's CraftStash KAL, to get 30% off of her pattern, which is super generous, and that is the featured pattern. I was going to knit it, and then I realized the yarn that I wanted to use for it is a little bit too lightweight, and that with my hair being so big lately, a tam really wouldn't fit me. So I decided to switch patterns last minute, but I'm still using yarn from a New York indie dyer. And that New York indie dyer is Kristen of the Yarngasm podcast, who's also known as Voolenvine, because she's based in Brooklyn. How indie is that? How Brooklyn is that? And the pattern that I'm using is the Ripken cowl. So I'm kind of halfway doing the cowl. And I just started swatching for it. It's a really easy pattern. It's basically a bias knit scarf cowl thingy that's joined in the round with a provisional cast on. The thing that I'm doing differently is that I'm knitting it garter instead of stockinette, because I'm using some really fun variegated hand dye from Kristen, which has all of these amazing colors in it. You guys can't really see because of the darkness in this room, but the colorway is called Tiger Lily. And this is my memorial shawl for my dear, dear Tiger Lily. If you guys didn't know, she has since left us. We put her to sleep a couple of weeks ago because her cancer had gotten bad enough that she hadn't eaten for a week solid, and she just was not very happy. So she's in a really, really good place right now, and I am in a good place now too because it's been a couple weeks. I still miss her like crazy. So I am knitting her this, or knitting myself this shawl or cowl, just in kind of remembrance. And it's, I don't think Kristen did this on purpose, but the Tiger Lily colorway absolutely reminds me of Tiger because it's got the grays and a little bit of greens and the oranges and a hint of purple. Tiger's fur was not purple, but other than that, pretty spot on. So yeah, I'm doing this as my cowl contribution, and I'm pairing it with some yarn from Plucky Knitter rather, in this really awesome olive colorway. The yarn weight is fairly similar to the Voolenvine yarn. And this is the green for Tiger's eyes, so yay! So I'm going a little bit off script, but that's okay, I'm allowed to do that. And it's going pretty well so far. So that's one of the things that I'm crafting. The other thing that I'm crafting is really, really fun. I am a part of the Yarntini Create Your Own Self-Striping club. It's 3 months where we get to pick our own colors from all the colors that I believe, oh gosh, I'm blanking, I believe Jessie dyes. And these are the colors that I chose first up. It's like this really awesome deep teal blue, lime green, lavender, and cyan. Big surprise, right? Oh gosh, the color is so bad. I'm sorry, guys. Let me just bump this up a little bit. Okay, so yes. So I created this colorway, yay, very exciting, and I'm making just some really basic, boring toe-up stretchy socks. I like circulation socks, so these are ribbed for my pleasure. Ooh, I think there's a pattern called ribbed for her pleasure, actually. And if you'll notice, I should publish this pattern for my open-heeled, or as I like to call them, assless chap socks. There's no heel because I wear through heels way too quickly. I hate to darn socks, and no one can make me darn socks. So this is my pattern. This is my go-to pattern. I basically do toe up, heavy ribbing, maybe a little bit of visual interest with a modest cable, and then just don't do the heel. And what I do is I wear the socks with ankle socks on top of them so as to decrease any friction, because my feet are always cold anyway, so the double layer really helps. And it also helps to protect my sock. So I have a pair of socks that I did that to, and I wear them maybe every other week, and they've been fine for the past 6 months, so I think it works for me. So I'm really excited about this. I've started on the second sock today. So what I'm gonna do is, because it's one ball of yarn, I basically started one sock, completed the sock up to just above the ankle. I'm gonna start the second sock, get to the same place, and then I'm gonna try to work from both ends of the ball. I've never really done that before. We'll see how it goes. I will knit this sock from the center, this sock from the outside, and this way it'll let me use up as much yarn as possible. What's gonna happen though, obviously, is my striping pattern is gonna be thrown off, but I don't really care. I think that'd be kind of fun. So that's the plan. So that's the other thing that I'm crafting. How about what I'm stashing, guys? I have so much stash that I haven't told you about. And I know 2014 was supposed to be my stash down year, and I kind of have been really, really good about it. It could be better, but it could be worse. So the good news is that all of the stash that I have that's new was all from clubs. So I did that late last year, kind of to pace myself. So it's good. The first stash to show you, actually I've already showed you, was some of that lovely Voolenvine, Yarngasm, sorry. No, Voolenvine I think is her company name, was some of that lovely Voolenvine yarn from Kristen of Yarngasm. The second thing I have to show you is a box. A box that rocks. Ooh, that's blindingly white. This is my second installment of the CSA Puni Club from Kate of Gourmet Stash. So I'm going to open it up fresh right now. Ooh, fun packaging. Alright, so there's her polka dot packaging. What else is in here? There's a packet of goodies. Ooh, I really have to tone down the contrast. There's a packet of goodies. So what's in here? So the CSA Puni Club, if you guys are in the club, this is the second month, spoiler alert. But what it is she sends you custom exclusive colorways every month for the first 3 months of the year, or every other month maybe? Yeah, every other month. So this is the second shipment. This is with fiber from Dragonfly Fibers, and the theme is Blue Skies and Happy Flowers. Let's see what else she put in here. And usually there's a fun gift or two. Oh, so there's, what is this? Oh, yuzu scented lotion? I think yuzu is a fruit. I don't know. Soak makes lotion now? Okay, great. Some soak wash. Oh, fun! And stitch markers from Vintage Rose. How cute! And they're like CSA. Like there's a bee and snap peas and a strawberry and a cherry and a piece of corn or something. Very cute stitch markers. Awesome. Very exciting. All right, let's see the fiber. Ah! Oh, here's a note from Kate saying thank you. All right, let's see what this looks like. I got the 2-ounce share, so Sorry for those of you guys who don't like crinkling noises, and sorry for those of you guys who don't like bad lighting, because I'm doing both. But if I don't do this, the fiber will be blown up. Okay, so this fiber has 60% superfine merino, 20% silk, ooh, 12% regular merino, and 8% sea cell. I don't think I've worked with sea cell before. Let's see what it looks like. Ooh, whoa, okay. Sorry, I'm like, ah, did she make these colors just for me? It's like aqua and purple. This is amazing. These are my favorite yarn colors ever. This is great. It's very, very soft. I wonder what the sea cell is. I'm smelling it. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I'm guessing the blue and the purple is the silk, and maybe the sea cell, and the merino is the white. I can't really tell from textures, but this is going to be an exciting spin. So that means I've got, if this is 2 ounces, it's probably 1 and 1. Or maybe no, this is probably half and half an ounce. And then the other, because there's 2 of them. Wow, this is awesome. Okay, yay! Awesome, yay! Okay, I'm wondering if I should finish spinning my first CSA Puni clip, which was, I think it's called Waiting for Spring or Ready for Spring. It's like these dark browns and whites and pale blues and bright greens. I'm so excited. Okay, so that's what I'm stashing. Oh my gosh, what a fun thing. Okay. So give me a second while I clean up a little bit. All right, so there's a little bit of house cleaning to do in our periphery. So you guys know that every month I've been doing the monthly birthday prize thread where I kind of ear burn everyone who's had a birthday in that month, saying happy birthday to them. And then there's the prize of a pattern from Ravelry. I forget how much I said the pattern can be. Let me take a quick look. Yeah, we'll make it like a $4 pattern just because I'm tight on money. But whoever, let's see, there were several of you guys who had birthdays in March. A quick scan of the list looks like maybe 30 of you. And about 30 of you, oh great, about 30 of you wrote back to say thank you, so that means there's 30 people in the prize pool. So let me go ahead and do the random number generator and say number 2 through 31. Okay, winner is lucky number 12, so let's see who that is. Oh, Maya Mayhem, happy birthday, lady. So you, oh, okay, so she says today, which was her birthday, March 3rd, she said it was pretty low-key except for the fact her 4-year-old just learned how to ride a bike. Awesome, that's a great birthday gift. I agree. So Maya, get in touch with me. Let me know what $4 pattern on Ravelry you'd like to win. And you're also going to get a zodiac sign stitch marker from our friend Serafina over at Bling Your String. Congrats. The other contest that we had going on was the Gracious Gal, which is the Gracious Gift Along. What did I say the prize for that was? Oh gosh, I never told you guys what the prize was for the Gracious Gift Along. All right. I'm gonna go dig in my stash and find something nice to give away. But in the meantime, I'm going to pick a winner. So we had, gosh, we had how many people in this? We had 25 posts. There are a couple of double posts. So what I'll do is I'm going to pick from the linked patterns. Okay, guys. So there's 13 projects posted in here. All right, let's do 1 through 13. Or 2 through 13, rather. Done. Generate. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, and the winner is Not a Drop by L. Cowl. Okay, so let's see what she said about this. Sorry guys, this is a little bit bootleg the way I'm doing this. Alright, so Elle McCall had 2 projects that she submitted. And the one that won the random prize random number generator was Not a Drop. She said she was gifted this pattern from Linda M. Noble through the Geeky Girls podcast. Oh, it's very nice. It's like a very lacy open scarf that's got a leaf motif on it. That's awesome. That's very nice. So yay, Elle McCall. Get in touch with me with your mailing address. I'm going to pick a yarn from my stash. Let me know if you like cool colors or warm colors, and I will send it on your way. Congratulations, and thanks for playing along, everybody else. So as I mentioned, every quarter I do a new knit along, and this quarter is a shared knit along with 2 of my favorite podcasters from the city, from Brooklyn and Astoria. And I have some awesome prizes for this one. The first prize is a skein of yarn from Jill Draper. I can't find it in my stash right now, so I'm going to show you the second prize, which was super generously donated by Jen of 716 Knits. I'm not going to take it out of the bag because it's yours, not mine, even though I really want to keep it. This is Jen's 716 sock base, which is 80% merino, 20% nylon. It's about 400 yards. The color is I Might Be Love's Bitch. Jen takes a lot of her color inspiration from like pop culture like Buffy and zombie movies and just punk culture in general, so true to form. Look at this. It's like bright, bright pink, awesome blue, some splashes of black thrown in. Really fun knit, and it comes with a stitch marker, so that's one of the prizes. You have all quarter, so 3 months to get your projects in and on time. I've got a chatter thread and a project thread just because I'm doing the knit along with 2 other people and I want to be a little bit more official about it, but pretty low key other than that. So I think I'm gonna leave you guys with that. It's a longer episode because I'm recording with my video camera since my iPad died on me. I hope you guys enjoyed spending a little bit more time with me. And I hope to see you guys soon. Yay! Next week I am going to Rhode Island for a road trip. I'm going to a women's conference with a good friend of mine, so I will try and sneak some video in. The other good news is that Greg I've been living like a single woman for the past 10 days. Greg was on a business trip to Belgium, the lucky bastard. And he took some really awesome photos, so I think I will try and do a slideshow of a vicarious vacation for the next episode. Until then, hope you have an awesome, awesome spring. I hope it's springing where you are. I've seen some pictures of Instagram where people still have snow in April. But until then, have a great, great one. See you next week. Bye.